All right, so I'm the last one, Department 3, Jake Coolidge. I'm currently a public defender in Missoula. I represent people who are charged with felonies in the county at or below 125% of the poverty line. That's kind of what our shared background. My background before that is I moved to Missoula to go to grad school for sociology and criminology. My studies focused on inequality in the criminal justice system, focused things like overrepresentation of Native American youth in the juvenile justice system, pretrial risk assessment, jail conditions when Scott Crichton was my boss at the ACLU. So I've really focused exclusively on local conditions and been really motivated by criminal justice reform, which is why I started to be a public defender, is to get involved, to start to try and fix the system that was in front of me. So to answer the question as to why I'm running this, right in line with that is because the American criminal justice system is a messed up institution that needs dramatic change, and it needs sweeping change. And the criminal justice system affects most people at the most immediate and local levels. Municipal court deals with misdemeanors within city limits of Missoula, which means that the vast majority of people who interact with the criminal justice system do so at municipal court. That includes us, but it also includes the most policed segments of the population, which are typically people in poverty, people with mental illness, and folks who are homeless. So what I'm running to do is to make sure that we have a system that more adequately reflects community values, that more effectively deals with these populations and the things that drive their criminality, and the belief that we can't simply punish those things away. The judge who's been running, Judge Jenks, for the past 11 to 12 years, has relentlessly used a hammer to solve these issues. She's issued warrants, jail sentences, and tried to tirelessly to punish away these larger problems. So what we bring to the court, I believe, is a better approach that actually makes sense. What has not been stated yet is that the three of us are running against three people that Judge Jenks handpicked to be her sub-judges. In no unexaggerated terms, we are running against the way things have been, and we are trying to shape a court of the way things should be. That we shouldn't continue to address these issues the way that they have been addressed. I'll note that I was the last of the three of us to file, which I think is important to note, because 4 months ago, probably would have never seen myself in this situation with you people and like running for judge. This wasn't like a thing I was thinking of. But when I heard that it was 3 departments and I heard that these 2 were running, is what catalyzed me to run. Jen has been my boss and kind of my mentor, hired me, and I've learned so much from her. Eli's someone I've always looked up to because of the hard work he does. And I believe that with our 3 shared backgrounds, that really it's important that not only one of us gets elected, but that all 3 of us get elected, so we can change this court system to make sense kind of on a moral and ethical level, on a financial level, and really kind of improve this system to be more just and equitable in what we should all expect of our municipal court system. That's who I am.
I didn't think I'd have to speak today, but I'm helping out the campaign, and I should probably at least draw attention to ways that folks can help. Obviously, you've heard contributing. The limit for which you can contribute went up from $180 to now $400. There's a little bit of vague.
Or is it?
No, it's a little vague. We're not quite sure when the date is specific. But what we do know from our treasurer is that we can always give money back to people because legally we can't let people over contribute. So it's fine to write a check up to $400. And, they won't talk you out of it. And if you're a couple, you can write a check for $800. But winning campaigns, it does take money. Mailers are very expensive. All the different platforms and apps and things it takes to reach people cost money. But some things really haven't changed in the campaign world, and that's actually just face-to-face. The more direct a communication, the more effective it is, the more impressionable it'll be. And so door-to-door, honestly, especially in such a small community like Missoula, there's 40,000 voters or so, but we have targeted our list down to those who have voted previously in municipal elections. So 2015, 2017, 2019. So these are people who we consider super voters. You're at a door with somebody who has voted in these previous elections, and they're like a 90% chance they're going to be voting this election. So, you know, the door-to-door work, I know everyone has the concept of like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a bear. But, you know, really people are super appreciative of, you know, somebody confronting them on a thing that they're going to have to deal with when the ballot shows up in the mail. And it's an all-mail ballot election. So they're going to get that ballot and they're going to remember, you know, the effort that somebody took to show up at your doorstep and talk to them about a race. And so it's hands down the most impressionable thing. They've done so many political science studies on door-to-door work. It increases voter turnout anywhere from 5 to 20%. And so that voter turnout, you know, wants to be with somebody that, you know, we said, you know, Eli, Jennifer, and Jacob, you know, and of course their last names will be all on the ballot. And so we want them to remember the name and we want them to turn out and vote. So the door-to-door work is like invaluable. And so if anyone feels like they want to step forward and kind of try to go door to door for these folks, which you should, you know, just come up to me. You know, you can grab my phone number, my email, and you know, and I can get in touch with you. We'll give you some of their new flashy literature that they have here. I'll give you a list that you can go knock kind of just right in your neighborhood, because we're knocking citywide, and a script, you know, and we're doing actually a training on Sunday at Jake's house. They'll feed you, they'll get you drunk. But yeah, you know, we'll just kind of try to dispel any fears you have of going and talking to strangers at their doorstep. There's just a misconception that people are rude, and people just aren't that capable of being rude. You know, they just like, you're more likely to have a rude person over the phone, because they're just like, you're not really face to face, so there's more likely to be rude over the phone. Door to door, you know, people just have a hard time asserting themselves. So it's just actually a great time to just like make an impression for these fantastic candidates. And that's what's really going to win the day. I don't think there's ever been municipal court judge candidates that have ever gone door to door, although the election is kind of different this go around. But so I'm really pushing the door to door thing, if you haven't noticed. You know, there's still, you know, we're going to have probably a text message platform, because it's just, you know, everyone has to open their text messagey things. You know, even if they don't respond to it, they're going to look at it. It's got like a 95% open rate, so it's super effective. We're going to do that, but you don't get away from doing traditional just phone banks. So there's all the landline voters, you know, that are super voters on that 2015, 17, 19 list as well. So we'll be doing traditional phone banks as well when the ballots are mailed out on October 14th. You know, so we'll be telling these people from the 14th to Election Day, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, that you need to get your ballots back. So just holler at me, get my phone number if you want to pitch in more than just money. But definitely donate.
Thank you, Ross.